Detectives plot Harold's movements in the weeks leading up to Toni's death. Harold had been visiting the very place where Toni died.
Then I found on Thursdays, 2 months before Toni's death, he started going up to Estes Park.
I think it was over 6 times that he went up to the park, and then in September went constantly up there.
In the days following Toni's death, detectives discover that there is more than one active insurance policy for her. Harold has been busy protecting his finances.
He had been carefully building up life insurance policies on Toni without her knowing it. Harold got a $1.5 million life insurance policy on Toni, and the next time he went to a different life insurance policy, he checked that it was a replacement policy. So he did that once, then he did it again, so now we have $3 million, and then he did it again. He had $4.5 million worth of life insurance on Toni's life, and she didn't know about it.
As investigators gather evidence, Harold still has people who believe in him, like Grace Rochelle. He calls her, asking for help.
I will most likely be arrested. You are going to be called, and you need to say that I was a perfect husband. You need to say that I was a great dad, because if you don't, then I might lose everything. I might be in jail for the rest of my life.
But for Grace, events around Toni's death remind her of the death of her friend and Harold's first wife, Lynn.
There's some really weird similarities between Lynn and Toni. I felt this incredible, overwhelming sense that this was my time to be a voice for them and to share what I had observed, to share anything that I knew about the circumstances and my overwhelming feeling of deja vu. Like, this feels like that night when I got the call about Lynn.
Detectives and Toni's family also spot similarities about the death of Lynn.
We did ultimately talk to the man who owned the crematoria, and he had said only one time in his life had he ever seen somebody demanded that their family member be cremated so quickly.
A pattern is emerging around Harold Henthorne and what happens to the women in his life.
He goes, I had a guy come in about 17, 20 years ago. It was the same thing. He goes, I think the wife was hit by a car or something. And he had the same document. He came in, thrust it in front of me, and said, I need her cremated right away.
And he said, it was this guy named Harold Henthorne. And his wife was Lynn.
As with Toni's death, Lynn had been persuaded to go alone on a trip with Harold.
They were on a dirt road, and Harold felt one of the tires was soft, and he pulls over onto a shoulder. What we do know happened is that he took the tire off. So there's lug nuts, and the tire is off, and one thing that we noted in the pictures that were taken was a footprint on the wheel well that looked like he had kicked the car over. And it had crushed Lynn.
Another similarity emerges in Harold's behavior before the death of Lynn, his first wife.
Lynn was overinsured, just like Toni was.
Then we began to hear the details of Lynn's death, and that made us furious.
There is even more chilling news in store for Grace.
I found out that he had this insurance policy on me.
So Harold got a life insurance policy, took it out on Grace.
I sort of felt like I'm tied to Lynn and Toni, like the three of us all had policies on us and 2 are dead. And it was this feeling like, why am I still here?
Harold Henthorne is not charged with the murder of his first wife. Resurrecting a decades-old case might prove too difficult to prosecute. But after nearly 2 years of painstaking investigation, he is arrested and charged with first-degree murder of his second wife, Toni.